They said girls don't need college, just obedience. But when I found the letter, they hid from me in my mother's closet, tucked between prayer scarves like a dirty secret. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I packed in silence, walked to the train station at dawn, and disappeared from their lives forever. My father ruled with an iron fist wrapped in religious righteousness. He had this saying that he'd repeat whenever I showed any spark of independence. A girl who thinks for herself becomes a woman who disobeys. He'd say it with such conviction, like he was delivering gospel truth. While my parents thought I was helping with household chores after school, I was actually staying late in the library, devouring every book I could get my hands on. She'd let me use her office phone to call universities, because we did not have one at home. My father said phones were unnecessary distractions for women. 7 shots of freedom. I used the school's address for correspondence, and Mrs. Henderson promised to hold any letters that came for me. He had no idea I was dying inside, that every day without a letter felt like another nail in the coffin of my future. Mending and fixing things for others while my own dreams fell apart. With trembling hands, I pulled out not 1, but 3 envelopes. We are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted. ... My vision blurred. Not from tears, I was too shocked for tears, but from the sheer magnitude of what I was holding. Acceptance, full scholarship. A future that my parents had literally hidden from me. All addressed to me, all from universities. All unopened. But weeks passed after the application deadlines, and nothing arrived. I packed 3 things: a small bag of clothes, a notebook where I'd written down all my dreams and goals, and those letters. I didn't take family photos or sentimental items. I didn't want any reminders of the people who tried to bury my future alive. The street was empty, just me and the sound of my footsteps on concrete. Each step felt like shedding skin. I walked to the bus stop, then to the train station, then onto the train that would take me to the university that had accepted me. I washed dishes in restaurant kitchens until my hands were raw and bleeding. I slept in basement apartments that smelled like mold and desperation. I studied under streetlights when the electricity got cut off, balancing textbooks on my lap while sitting on park benches. Mrs. Henderson kept checking, kept reassuring me that sometimes these things took time. But I started to feel that familiar weight settling in my chest, the weight of crushed dreams. I remember sitting in that cramped office, my hands shaking as I dialed admissions offices, pretending to be confident while my heart hammered against my ribs. I'd tell them I was attending religious study groups, but instead I was in the computer lab, researching universities, printing application forms on stolen paper. Everything I'd dreamed of. And my parents, the people who were supposed to love me, support me, want the best for me, had stolen them. They'd stolen my future and hidden it between pieces of fabric like it was shameful, like I was shameful. I never looked back until 15 years later when they came crawling back, begging for help. A clarity I'd never felt before. I realized that this wasn't just about college, this was about my entire life. If I stayed, if I confronted them, if I tried to negotiate or plead or fight, I would lose, because they held all the power in this house. They controlled the money, the rules, the very air I breathed. If you've ever felt the burning satisfaction of proving someone wrong who tried to destroy your dreams, smash that subscribe button right now. Hit the like button, because this story is about to show you what happens when someone underestimates a girl who refuses to stay quiet. Let's dive into one of the most satisfying stories of justice I've ever heard. I need to paint you a picture of the house I grew up in. It wasn't just strict heat, it was suffocating. My mother, she was a ghost in her own home. I'd catch her looking at me sometimes with these tired, defeated eyes, and she'd whisper, "Not follow your dreams, or you can be anything you want. Try not to make trouble. Just don't make trouble." As if my very existence was already too much disruption for their carefully controlled world. But here's the thing about trying to cage a bird, sometimes it just makes them more determined to fly. I became a master of rebellion disguised as obedience. The school principal, Mrs. Henderson, became my secret ally. I applied to 7 universities. My father seemed almost smug during those weeks. He'd make comments like, "See how quiet she's become?" This is what happens when girls accept their place. Then came that morning. I was looking for thread in my mother's closet to mend a torn skirt. Even that simple task felt symbolic of how I was expected to spend my life. Paper. Thick, official paper. My heart stopped. I was pushing aside her collection of prayer scarves when my fingers brushed against something that didn't belong. The first one I opened was from the state university. "Congratulations," it began. The second letter, accepted. The third, accepted with honors program invitation. I stood in that closet for what felt like hours, holding these letters that represented everything I'd worked for. But here's what's interesting about that moment. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. Something cold and crystalline settled in my chest. But they couldn't control what I did with the truth I now possessed. That night, I moved like a ghost through my own home. I'm choosing my own path now. I left it on my pillow. I wrote a single note. "I know what you did." At 5 in the morning, while my parents slept, I walked out of that house. I never said goodbye, because goodbyes imply you're planning to return. The first few years were brutal. I won't romanticize it. Poverty is not character building. It's just poverty. But here's what kept me going. Every hardship, every moment of hunger, every night I fell asleep on a mattress on the floor was my choice. I was building something with my own hands, creating a life where no one could hide my future from me. I was eating ramen for the 6th day in a row, and I found myself wondering if my parents had been right. They'd hidden them to protect themselves, because they knew that if I succeeded, would prove that everything they believed about women, about girls, about me, was wrong. And they couldn't handle being wrong. Maybe I wasn't meant for this. Maybe I should have just stayed quiet and accepted the life they'd planned for me. I remember one particularly low moment during my sophomore year. But then I thought about those letters hidden in that closet, and I realized something profound. They hadn't hidden them to protect me, so I kept going. I graduated with honors. I became a teacher, then a writer, then a speaker. But I did send them something. I published books. I traveled to speak at conferences. I created scholarship funds for girls from restrictive households. I dedicated it to every girl who was told her dreams were dangerous. I wanted you to see what it became despite you. I don't know if they read the book, if they understood the magnitude of what they'd stolen from me, or if they simply saw it as another act of disobedience from the daughter who refused to stay quiet. But I found the pen. I wrote my own ending, not with revenge, but with success. Not with hatred, but with hope. Not for them, but for every girl who refuses to let others define her future. Inside the front cover, I taped something. The original college acceptance letter. The one they'd hidden from me. The one that had started my journey to freedom. I became everything they'd tried to prevent me from becoming. I got invited to universities, the same kind of places my father had once said would corrupt me. Instead, they elevated me. They gave me platforms to share my story, to inspire other girls who might be sitting in closets right now, dreaming of escape. Every scholarship recipient who gets to attend university because of the fund I created, they are my real family. They are the legacy I chose to build instead of the one that was forced upon me. Hit that like button if you believe everyone deserves the chance to write their own story. Subscribe for more incredible tales of justice, triumph, and the power of never giving up on yourself. And remember, your dreams are never too dangerous. They're just too powerful for some people to handle. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness. It's just a cold, distant curiosity about the audacity of these people who tried to destroy my dreams, then expected me to save them from the consequences of their choices. This one was unhidden in a closet, was delivered directly to my office at the university where I now worked as a professor. Medical bills. Your mother is sick. There's no one left to help. Come home. Your mother needs you. For 15 years, I built a life they never could have imagined for me. And then, one Tuesday morning, I received another letter. The handwriting was shaky, older, it was from my father. "The house is gone," he wrote. I read it 3 times, sitting in my office surrounded by the books I'd written, the awards I'd won, the life I'd built from nothing. I didn't respond to the letter. 3 days later, I packaged up a signed copy of my latest book, a memoir about overcoming family betrayal and finding your own path. I included a note. "You tried to hide my future once. Never heard back. But I know this. Every girl who reads that book, every young woman who hears my story and decides to fight for her own dreams, they tried to write my story for me, with invisible ink and hidden letters. If this story moved you, if you've ever had to fight for your dreams against people who were supposed to support you, let me know in the comments.